What's up, y'all? T. Stovall here, coming to you from beautiful downtown metropolitan Burkeville, Texas, where Amazon brought me this shirt the other day. Those of you who know me well will appreciate that I'm wearing this shirt. Many of my former coworkers are asking themselves right now, when did he start doing it silently? It's a retirement thing, y'all. Those of you who knew my mother well will appreciate that this shirt triggers my PTSD, so it takes a lot for me to wear it. Anyway, I want to talk about coronavirus for a few minutes, and I want to start by talking about something known as Occam's razor. Occam's razor is a principle of thought. It was developed by a fellow named William of Occam. He was a Franciscan friar, and more importantly, he was a logician. He was a man who dealt in logical thinking, something that is sorely lacking in our discourse nowadays. And Occam's razor says, and I'm paraphrasing, of all competing theories, the simplest is usually the best. And so if you break that down, what it really means is if you have a problem you are attempting to solve, and there are multiple solutions to that problem, or if you have a situation, in this case, that you're trying to explain and there are multiple explanations, the simplest is usually the best. And y'all, I'm a simple-minded guy, and the first time I ever heard Occam's razor, I said, that explains it, okay? I can deal with that. And what brought this up for me is a meme I saw lately that it's a funny meme, I think. It shows a guy falling through space wearing nothing but a pair of shorts. And the caption on the meme says, skydiver who forgot parachute hurdles to death, death blamed on coronavirus. And like I said, I thought it was pretty funny. And the whole basis of that meme, the mimesis, if you will, is that we are purposely overstating the number of deaths associated with coronavirus. And I'm a naturally curious guy. And so when I heard that hypothesis, I had to go ask why. Why would we do that? And y'all know, the first bunch I heard from, loud and clear, is this radical right-wing wackadoodle conspiracy bunch that sees the deep state everywhere, right? It's George Soros and Hillary Clinton and now Bill Gates. I don't know what Bill Gates did to piss off y'all on the right, but if y'all want to be mad at Bill Gates about something, be mad about Windows XP, okay? But their explanation for why we're overstating the coronavirus deaths is the deep state and the mainstream media. They're trying to destroy our president, Tom. They're our savior, Donald Trump. He is the last hope of white nationalism in this country, and they're trying to take him down. They want to destroy America. Horse shit. I've been hearing that crap my whole life. Lots of y'all know my mama was the queen of conspiracy theories. And so I've heard about the United Nations and the military-industrial complex and literally everything Lyndon Johnson did, and the Trilateral Commission and the International Monetary Fund, they all conspiracies. My mama could smell a conspiracy everywhere. Of course, many of you know that my mama couldn't smell. So that'll tell you how accurate her conspiracy theories were. I'm not buying it. The deep damn state doesn't exist. Now, I know one of y'all gonna send me a post and it'll read something like, Mary Lou Horseface worked for the Social Security Administration out yonder in Tacoma, Washington, and she got on Larry King and said she was a member of the deep state and she used to get a check every month from the Clinton Foundation. Save your time. I'm not even going to read that. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't unfriended anybody, but I've unfollowed a couple, and I've muted a ton of y'all's timelines, because if your only answer for everything is some so-called deep state, you need to get out more. I do have a couple of questions for you, though, while we're here. One, I'd like to know who dresses you in the morning. And second, and like I said, I'm a naturally curious guy, what size spoon do they feed you your soup with? Because the deep damn state doesn't exist. And using it as an explanation for everything that's wrong in this country makes you look a little paranoid, I gotta tell you. I had a second explanation for the overstatement of coronavirus deaths, and of all places, I got this from a nurse at a hospital in LA. And she says that the government intends to reimburse the healthcare industry for all the costs associated with coronavirus, so the bigger they can make it, the more money they get. Now, you want to use greed as a motive for something that humans do? I'll buy that much more quickly than I can buy a conspiracy, okay? And so I went and bounced this off of several people that I know in the medical profession. As it turns out, I know a fair number of them, many of them in my family. And I couldn't get any of them to tell me that, they would lie on a death certificate to bring in money. I did have one doctor in my family who told me, Tommy, I could see in an isolated case, like might have a little rural hospital somewhere that's on the verge of bankruptcy, some unscrupulous administrator sees a way to bring in a few extra dollars from the government. I can see that happening. But y'all, this isn't happening in isolation. Take out why people died. Look at the death statistics this year. And like I said, don't look at how people died, look at how many people died. And just compare January through April of this year with the same trimester in previous years. Something is going on, because deaths are way up this year. In fact, the coronavirus doesn't even explain all of it, so we might be understating the coronavirus effect. And if you look at April, we set a record in this country last month for the number of deaths. So something's going on. And if you believe that doctors are lying on death certificates and other government officials and healthcare professionals are lying on death certificates, which, at least in the state of Texas, falsifying a government document is a felony, and they're doing that just to bring in more money, then you'd have to believe that thousands of doctors and judges and other people are committing felonies as a revenue generation model. I'm not buying that one either. There's a third explanation, and as it turns out, it fits Occam's razor perfectly, because it is the simplest explanation. And that explanation is there is a deadly, damned virus loose in this country. And it is making people sick and killing people more than we know. And we ought to start listening to the doctors talking about medical science and stop listening to the politicians. I trust doctors to discuss, virologists and epidemiologists. And look, you're not going to get unanimity from the medical profession. There was a couple of doctors out west here a couple of weeks ago that got their hands spanked by their respective associations for saying coronavirus isn't real. And, you're going to find exceptions everywhere. So since you can't have 100%, I'll go with the consensus. And most people in the medical profession will tell you this is serious. And we ought to stop acting like it's not. And look, I get it is hugely burdensome on the economy. I got that. I'm retired. This thing hadn't affected me financially, not one red cent. The biggest inconvenience for me is I can't run over to Jasper and drink coffee and eat at my favorite restaurant. I believe I'll survive through that. And, if the answer is it's not happening at all, then the other answer is not screw it, just turn everything back on and deaths be damned. There's an answer, y'all, somewhere in between. And I wish I knew what it was, but I don't. I do know that we ought to stop acting like it's not happening. That's just my 2 cents. Wouldn't it be cool if today were the day we all stopped being afraid? Later on, y'all.